Hey everyone, welcome back. It's Wicked Jelly coming to you once again. Uh, Back here for Folklore the Affliction, game by Greenbrier Games. This is the playthrough part 3. Gonna keep continuing our adventure. We still haven't made it to our first destination. Still traveling. But it was a long way to travel. But I feel like we've accomplished a lot. And we did make it through, through to 2 towns. We're on the end run, if you will, to get to Ostelink, where we need to go. Still got to do a little bit of traveling, but so far, my guys haven't really taken much damage or anything. I mean, actually, next to nothing, really. So it's going pretty good so far. My Avenging Mammoth has 11 coins, my Exorcist is 9. Did use the PowerPoint, for the Avenging Madman, so there's that. But everybody's good Vita wise, so can't really complain as far as that goes. So things are going really well. Well, and I did use 2 bandages um, for my other guy. One thing I did think of, I'm pretty sure it does come into play. So I am going to buy it while I'm in town. Excuse me. Because I can do it, is I do think darkness plays a factor. And since I don't have anyone that has an ability to create light, I think I'm going to buy a torch. So I am going to go ahead and purchase that item. So looking at it, it's 5 coins. So I'm going to go ahead and buy a torch, draw 1 item once per visit, and purchase it if you wish. Huh, that's interesting. Okay. You can sell items for half their cost. But there is a torch that's available there. I think I'm going to buy that while I'm in town because I do think that plays a factor at some point. So it's going to be 5 coins. My guys love each other. They work together. So basically, I'm going to take it um, from the Avenging Madman, but then I'm going to go ahead and divvy their coins up. So that would take it down to 6. The other one would have 9. So I'll do it where the Avenging Madman has 8 coins and the Exorcist has 7. And that'll give me a torch. So I'll have one of those as well. Outside of that, it's pretty much moseying on out. I can't really remember who went last, but I'm not really too concerned about it. Starts out as daytime again. Since I'm not exactly 100% sure, and I don't think it really matters, truthfully, I'm just going to go ahead and go with saying the Exorcist is going to start off as the leader. And we'll go ahead and make the first movements there and see what we have that'll show up, or what we'll get, or what we'll not want to get. Anyways, let's go. Okay, so we started out in Eurotrusk, and my trusty little Exorcist was leading. Still has that eagle totem headgear that gives him an extra stride. Plus, we still have the carriage. So that gives us 6. So as you can see, that ends us up right up there. Now, this is kind of annoying, but somehow when I did these maps, I had a little bit of a gap between this one and the next one. So there's going to be one space when I do the next one, assuming we make it there, that's not going to be represented on the map. I don't really see a point in redoing it just for that. I mean, I'm pretty sure you can take my word for it. It's not like I'd make up something that's silly. Um, so kind of just going to leave it as is. But anyways, that would be on the next one anyhow. But this one takes us all the way up to the end of this. And of course, we have our trusty road event that we need to look at. So let's go ahead and see what we got. Alright, so we got the daytime one here. Undertaker. We traveled by a small roadside graveyard. An old man busily digging new graves noticed us. His hands were blistered, and he asked us for a set of bandages. One character may discard a bandage to receive 8 lore, otherwise he becomes angered and the group must skirmish with the Undertaker. Um, well, as neat as it would be to do another skirmish, I mean, if I can avoid it, I think it's wiser to avoid it. I will get 8 lore for it. Man, it's a little bit of a gamble. Using up another one of my bandages that'll leave me with only one. But you know what? I'm willing to risk it. I still have that Ankh of Life for the Avenging Batman as well. So I think it's well spent. So I'm going to go ahead and use the bandage, get 8 lore for my Avenging Madman, and then continue on my merry way. Yeah, moving right along. So now it's nighttime. Our leadership role passes to our Avenging Madman. So we just go ahead sauntering on. Like I said, the one space is off the map. Actually, you can kind of see like the little tiny corner of it down there. But, you know, I don't know how that happened. It's annoying, but what are you going to do? So he had 5 spaces, so that takes us to where I have the star at, right outside of town. Boy, isn't that annoying. So close. I mean, you're telling me if you were that close, you couldn't just, you know, pick it up, go a little further, get that carriage to keep moseying on just a little bit more? Apparently not. Oh well. Alright, so we got one more road event, and then we will finally have made it to Ostelink. Ay, ay, ay. But let's go ahead and see what we got here. Alright, Doppelganger. A dark form passed us on the road, and then there was one more friend among us. A doppelganger takes the shape of a random character. The group must skirmish with it. The skirmish counter set to 1d4. Its attacks cause 1d4 damage. Roll a d6 for each hit against it. On a d6, 4 plus, instead of reducing the skirmish counter, the real character is hit. Yeah, so this one's kind of lame. This is a pretty nasty one, I think, compared to a lot of the other ones I've had. But I guess we'll see how this goes now, won't we? I didn't even have a d6 out. I gotta go get a d6 dice here. Alright, so now I got one. So I guess the first thing I need to do is to see which one it made a copy of. And it's gotta be said, initially, like, I was going through these to try and grab these cards. I was tearing my hair out, wondering where the doppelganger card was. Because it wasn't really clear to me that it would have the same attributes as far as defense goes, I guess, as, whatever character it's copying, but apparently it does, I would assume, because it doesn't tell you anything else. So I guess, anyways, the first thing we'll do here is we'll see if it's going to be the Avenging Madman 1 to 3, the Exorcist 4 to 6. Well, so it's the Exorcist I made a copy of. Alright, so basically, what I have to be concerned with is his defense is 36. So, a little bit lower than what the Avenging Madman is. Next, find out what his skirmish counter is going to be set at. Of course I rolled a 4, because, that makes sense. This is going to suck. Alright, well, alright, so I have those parts done. And now the next thing to do is, of course, skirmish. They always get to go first. So I guess I'll roll, and I guess he has the same attack as my guy has as far as what he attempts to hit with. Or no, I guess it doesn't matter. Because it's, I have the damage in there. 36. Oh, I guess I should have rolled who the heck he's going after. Or actually, no, wait. They do it against both. Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Alright, so I rolled 36. And I mean, I don't... Yeah, I'm not going to give him any plus. It doesn't say to give him any plus. So I'm not. As far as a plus on attack. It just tells you what the damage does. The nasty thing is when you hit it, you can possibly hit your own character, and that's what's going to be painful. But anyways, so I rolled 36. And did I really roll a 36? Damn it. Alright, so I did. I rolled a 36, so it hits the exorcist. Let's see what he did damage-wise. And he does, well, 1 point of damage. Alright. It's not the end of the world. So, go ahead and put that down here. Man, I can't find where I did my pencil. Pencil, where are you? Alright, found it. Ah, that was annoying. Alright, so I marked off my little Vita point. And now is when I have to really cross my fingers and hope I get some pretty good rolls. So I'm going to roll for the Avenging Madman first. And I roll a 52, which hits. Now here's hoping I don't hit my own player. That's going to be really annoying. Thank goodness I rolled a 2. Alright, so that takes it down to 1. But still has 3 though. God, I don't like this. This is like the worst one. Right outside of town too. Okay, and he rolls a 46 for my exorcist. That also hits. And again, we'll see. I rolled a 5, so I do damage. Now how's that gonna work? I do damage to myself? That doesn't really make any sense. Yeah, that's kind of dumb. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, why would I hit myself? Um, yeah, I'm not going. That's dumb. So I'm going to lower it another one. I'm just calling that right now. It would make no sense for me to be confused about the other one. That just seems silly to me. So I'm not doing that. That's kind of silly. It doesn't really say. It just says, you know, on a 4 plus, instead of reducing the skirmish counter, the real character is hit, but I'm not going to have it where it hits me. That doesn't make any sense. So, I'm not doing that. Alright, anyways, time for Mr. Doppelganger. Oh, a 3. Yep. It's safe to say that hits. No, doesn't hit. What am I talking about? Wait a minute. It doesn't hit. Alright. So, yeah, rolled a 3. And he misses on both. Avenging Madman. He gets a 30. Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? I don't think that's going to hit. Plus 9. Oh, plus 10. So, actually it does. So, yay. And then let's see. Hopefully he doesn't hit my guy. 2. Alright. So, Doppelganger's down to 1. Let's see here. Exorcist, can you hit? And you will not. You will miss horribly. I rolled a 7. So, nope. No good there. So now it's the Doppelganger's turn. And he rolled, ouch, an 88. So he hits. He hits both. Dang it. So let's do damage for the Avenging Madman. Yeah, 1 hit point. So far I'm doing pretty good. Now that I said that, watch me roll a 4. Oh, no, 2. Alright. So my Exorcist loses 2 more hit points. So he's down to 21. My Avenging Madman is down to 22. And now it's my Avenging Madman's turn. I'm very worried because I've been pretty lucky on these rolls. 52. So what are the chances of me rolling a 1 through a 3 3 times in a row with this D6. I don't know. Yep, yeah, it wasn't going to happen. Man, that's going to be painful. Oh, all right. Well, unfortunately, his bail hook, the one time he's able to do something with it. And what is his plus on damage? I was going to say, I know that's not the right one. All right. Man, that is very, very painful. Okay. Plus 3 damage. Totally uncool. So he does 5 hit points. I rolled a 2 for the plus 3 damage. So that gives him 5 damage that he's done. So my Exorcist is down to 16. Come on, Exorcist. Hit, please. Please hit. 78. Thank the heavens. Alright, so that is over with. Boy, that was ugly. Alright. Thankfully, though, it is now finished. That was the most painful road event that I had. And of course, it's the last one. Man, now my Exorcist is down to 16 Vita. My Avenging Madman is only down 1. He still just has the 1 PowerPoint. It was the Exorcist that took the brunt of that. And the really lame thing is, I don't get like any points or anything for that. So lame. Oh well. Alright, so at this point we have made it into Ostelink. So we actually get to read some more storyline. So let me go ahead and grab the book and see what we have going on here. Okay, so first things first, I can go ahead and use town services, but there's only the physician and the gypsy caravan that are available. Thankfully, neither of my characters are ghosts, so I don't have to really worry about the gypsy. I mean, I could try and do something to spend some coin to hopefully get some type of blessing. I don't really feel that's worth it. Not to mention, I still have one that I can use. I just don't think it's worth using yet. I could heal, but I don't really want to do that. I'd rather save the power points because I'm not really going to be able to rest after this point, I don't believe. Because you can only really rest on the world map, and even doing so can be kind of risky. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to use the physician, and it's one gold coin per Vita. I'm going to go ahead and heal myself up with the Exorcist. I'm going to heal him back up to 24. So that'll be 8 coins. So I'm going to split it up again between my Avenging Madman and the Exorcist. Although, now that I think about it, I did have a combat with a doppelganger, so he actually gets a coin for that. So he'll have a couple more. So my Avenging Madman at the end of the day is going to have 5 coins. My Exorcist is going to have 3. But he will be back up to 24 Vita. And he hasn't used any of his power points. And I think I'm pretty much going to leave it at that. As far as that goes, then the next part is just reading my little bit here. In Ostelink, the streets are deserted with the exception of an occasional townsperson hurrying home or a drunk vagabond asleep in the alley. The few villagers you see scurrying on their way pause only to regard you with cautious stares. You raise your arm and call out a friendly greeting, time and again with only quickly averted eyes as a response. It does not take much to sense that something is wrong. You catch sight of a street urchin eyeing you from a side alley. Unlike the rest, it seems her curiosity is winning over her caution. You wave her over and she hesitantly approaches. When you ask her about the town and why everyone seems afraid, she looks nervous and says, "Many people are worried because of the strange things that are happening. It is worse in the countryside and a lot of the farm folk have come into town. The inn is completely sold out." You ask the girl what she knows about wolves and the priest. For a moment she feigns ignorance, but after a bribe of food she tells you about the many recent wolf sightings. She warns that some have claimed that the wolves seem to change in the moonlight. With a full mouth, the urchin says she knows nothing of a visiting priest, but that you might be able to find out more answers at the inn. Okay, so choose your path tutorial. There will be times when the group will have to make a choice, such as right now. You will not know the consequences until after the choice has been made. Follow the instructions in the dialogue box and then continue the story. If instructed to read a story moment, it is not required to share the information read with the rest of your group, although it is usually wise to do so unless told otherwise. So choose your path. Will you give the urchin some spare change? Do choice 1, which is one character may give the street urchin a coin if you have one. Then if that's the case, then we read story moment 25. Or choice 2, if you decide to be uncharitable, you would read story moment 70. I mean, she's been pretty helpful. I don't see any reason to hold off from helping her. It's one coin. It's not the end of the world. I'm going to go ahead and do it. You like my little photo of the urchin there? Huh? Does that look good? You think that's, does that immerse you? Does that create immersion? I have no idea. Alright, so anyways, I'm going to go ahead and give the coin. I took it for my Avenging Madman. So now I have to read story moment 25 on page 46. Let's see. As thanks, you toss a coin to the filthy child, who catches it midair and makes the shiny disappear quick as a blink. She turns to go, but then pauses to say, I know one more thing. The wolves like to hide in tall grass, ambushing their prey. Be careful. Gain the blue story marker. Story markers are awards that can either cause a positive or negative event later in the story, but players will not know which is the case until it is revealed. Don't read ahead in the story. A story marker cannot be given to another character. Once the story is completed, all story markers are discarded. So I got myself a handy dandy blue marker, which I'm just going to keep track of. I mean, they look like little tomes, and there's red and blue and green, so they definitely have some type of meaning. But I don't see any reason to go over the top with that right now. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory what we have going on here. Sorry, I'm trying to get back to the page. Jeez. Alright. Where's it at? Okay. Alright, so I guess after that we would still go to the inn. True to the urchin's words, the inn is bursting with people and heated conversation. Most of the patrons look to be farmers, with the occasional merchant in the crowd. The room goes quiet as you enter, and you sense that you are not welcome. The innkeeper speaks. What is your business here? You tell the crowd that you are looking for information, specifically about the missing priest and strange wolves that have been giving the town trouble. The innkeeper growls. We don't know anything about a priest, and we could take care of a few wolves without any help from the likes of you. His words are fierce, but you notice several of the patrons look uncertain. Ignoring the others' uncertainty, he continues, We have no rooms here. You can have a drink, but afterwards, I suggest you move on. Alright, so now it's a story skill check. So as you stick around attempting to gather any information from the crowd, it is apparent that not everyone is happy with you being there. A bottle flies through the air right at you. So a random character, so I have to roll, decide which one. I guess 1 to 3, The Exorcist. 4 to 6 will be my trusty Avenging Madman. Okay, so let's see what happens. Who's gonna get the bottle to the head? The Exorcist. Well, I do have a +1 on my trickery. They both do, so it doesn't really matter one way or the other. I need to roll a 7 or better, though. That's really high. Jeez, man. Alright, so let's see. So I need a 6 or higher. I rolled a 4. So I have trickery +1, which is 5. Still not enough. So the bottle strikes you in the head. That hurt. Lose 2 Vita. I love how the only person like losing Vita is my exorcist. But I guess I'm glad that I healed him up. Alright, so he's back down to 22. Um, and that's him. Yes, I don't think he's smiling though, like this guy. I think he would probably think that's pretty painful. I'm just saying. Alright, so the assault by the crowd has upset you. They are gaining confidence, having made the first move. They are now getting ready for a good old-fashioned bar fight. Choice 1. If you decide to calm down the crowd to prevent somebody from getting hurt, you read Story Moment 37 on page 47. Or choice 2. If you decide to teach these peasants a lesson for being uncooperative, read Story Moment 58 on page 50. Alright, I'm going to be the nice, peaceful guy. I'm going to, try to settle things down. Namaste them. Even though they hit me with a beer bottle, which is pretty lame because I don't think it really did anything. Didn't really deserve that. But, it is what it is. These guys want to be that way, that's fine. I'm going to try and settle them down. I hope I don't have to make another skill check because so far I've been doing really crappy with those. But we'll find out, I guess. We need to calm this angry mob. Choose a character to make a speech 8 check. What? Are you kidding me? Wow. Okay. So it has to be speech 8. If a character was hit by the bottle, you receive a -1 penalty because the crowd has gained confidence. Well, I'm definitely going to use my exorcist because he has a speech. Oh, he only has a +1? I thought he had higher than that. Well, that sucks. Alright, well, he had a +1, but doesn't matter because that gets subtracted because I failed the last skill check. So I need to roll an 8 or higher. Oh my goodness. That is actually really cool. I rolled a 10. Alright, so it worked. Success. You calm the inn patrons and become respected as a result. Nice. The tension leaves as quickly as it escalated. These villagers are scared. It explains their short fuse, but what is more surprising is how defeated they seem once they've calmed down. It's as if they believe no amount of fighting will help. After peace is restored, a farmer approaches you nervously and says, "Your priest passed through my land inquiring about the way to Norian's Hollow. I told him of a shortcut I know. A day later, crazed wolves came down out of those hills, devouring my livestock and attacking my family. We ran here to Ostelink to find help, but everyone's too scared to leave town. If you agree to destroy those wolves, I will tell you of the shortcut." Alright, there you go. So we got our little quest here. So this is your choose your own path. So you can actually choose to go one way or another. As far as this goes, there's our trusty little farmer. I mean, how can you say no to this guy? He needs your help. But you can decide not to spare the time to help him with his woes if you want to be that mean. I don't know. If you did that to me, I think I'd take that hoe to your head. Just kidding. But there's no reason not to help him. So I'm going to go with choice 2, which is you decide to help the farmer with his troubles. And that takes us to story moment 46 on page 48. It's so tempting to know what these other ones are, because I'm missing some of these. Well, I mean, you're not missing them, but I guess it makes it a little bit varied, do different things. So here we go. You realize how much courage that it took for this man to approach and ask for help. He was obviously nervous, but overcame his fear. It shouldn't take too much time to deal with a few wolves, and the farmer promised to tell you of a shortcut, which will hopefully make up for time lost. I agree. So that would take us to the farm, which is choice number 2. And I believe that would be a good place to end it. The next time, it's going to be the first time we're going to get into our battle, it looks like. So that'll be cool. One nice thing is, since I finally succeeded on the skill check, that one gave me respected. So that gave me a couple little perks. So it was the exorcist that it goes to, but since I passed, he gets a +1 to his trickery and a +1 to speech. That'll be temporary, but it'll be throughout the end of this story, which we do have a little bit to go here. Funnily enough, I don't even know if that's going to really come into play from this point on, but you never know. But either way, got a little bit of a boon from both of those since I was successful and able to talk the crowd down. But I think this is a good place to end it. Next time we'll be seeing what goes on at the farm. I want to thank you so much for watching and for supporting me. If you want to see more of this, please by all means subscribe, hit that like button. And again, I cannot appreciate, or I cannot say, I don't even know what I'm trying to say there. Anyways, so until the next time, this is Wicked Jelly signing off, playing Folklore, the Affliction. I hope you and yours stay safe and take care. See you in the next one. Bye!